wasn't supposed to hear it. But that night, standing just outside that half-closed door, I heard my entire future being rewritten, without me in it. And in that moment, I realized something that changed everything. At least, that's what I thought at the time. They didn't see me as family. They saw me as temporary. Before we begin, if stories like this speak to something deep inside you, the kind of truth people don't always say out loud, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if you believe in stories that reveal what life tries to hide, subscribe to the Unspoken Chapter, where silence is broken and truth finally finds a voice. The Carter estate in Connecticut was the kind of place people slowed down to stare at. Wide iron gates, perfect lawns, a house that looked like it had never known struggle. But me? I came from a small apartment in Ohio. I was a public school teacher, 3rd grade, and somehow I ended up married into one of the wealthiest families in the state. My husband, Daniel Carter, wasn't like them. At least, that's what I believed. We met at a bookstore, no designer suits, no last names that carried weight, just two people talking about life, loss, and second chances. That's what I fell in love with. Not the money, not the name, him. It was supposed to be a celebration dinner. Daniel's father had just finalized a major business deal. Everyone was there. His mother, Evelyn Carter, perfectly composed as always. His older brother, Victor, who never bothered to hide his dislike for me. And a few family advisors who always seemed to appear whenever money was involved. I stepped away to freshen up. That's when I heard them. "We can't keep delaying this," Evelyn said. My steps slowed. "The board is already asking questions," Victor added. "She's not aligned with the family's direction." My chest tightened. "She's my wife," Daniel said quietly. "She's a liability," Evelyn replied. "If Daniel wants full control of his shares, she can't be part of the picture." I stopped breathing, but what I heard next was worse. The silence, the agreement, the way no one defended me. It wasn't what they said. It was how easily they said it. Like I wasn't a person, like I was a problem to be solved. I walked back into the dining room like nothing happened, smiling, nodding, playing my role. But inside, everything had shifted. Evelyn looked at me and said, "Emily, dear, could you pass the wine?" Her tone was sweet, too sweet, the kind of sweet that hides something bitter. I handed it over, and that's when Victor smirked. "You've adjusted well," he said. "From where you came from." The table went quiet. Everyone heard it. No one corrected it, not even Daniel. That moment, that silence, that was louder than anything they said behind closed doors. I found Daniel outside later that night. "You knew," I said. He didn't ask what I meant. That told me everything. "They think I'm holding you back?" I asked. He sighed. "It's complicated." "No," I said calmly. "It's actually very simple." I stepped closer. "Am I your partner or your obstacle?" He didn't answer immediately, and sometimes silence is the loudest answer you'll ever hear. "They're pressuring me," he finally said. "To do what?" He hesitated. "Then, to restructure things, legally." I let out a soft laugh. "Restructure?" "That's what they're calling it." "And what do you call it?" He looked away. That was it. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not heartbreak, not anger, clarity. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor of our bedroom, back against the bed, staring at nothing. And for the first time in years, I asked myself a question I had been avoiding. Was I ever enough, or was I just convenient? Tears came, quiet, heavy, not loud crying, the kind that feels like your chest is collapsing inward. I thought about every moment I tried harder, spoke softer, adjusted myself to fit into a world that never made space for me. And then it hit me. I wasn't being rejected because I wasn't enough. I was being rejected because I didn't belong to their system. And that changed everything. I didn't argue, I didn't cry, I didn't beg. I went home, and for the first time in years, I looked at my life without him in it, and it didn't scare me. That's when I knew. They had already lost. They just didn't realize it yet. 2 days later, Evelyn called me. I think it's time we had a mature conversation. I'm listening, I said. You're a good woman, she began, but you're not suitable for where this family is going. And where is that? I asked. Forward, I smiled. Interesting, I said, because from where I stand, you're the one stuck. Her tone hardened. You should consider stepping away with dignity. No, I said calmly. I'll consider stepping forward, with purpose. And I hung up. I met my friend Sarah. She looked at me for a long time before speaking. You've been shrinking, she said. I frowned. What? You used to be bold, confident, certain. Now you ask permission just to exist. That hit harder than anything Evelyn said. I love him, I said quietly. I know, she replied, but you're disappearing and calling it love. Then she leaned forward. They didn't break you, Emily. You abandoned yourself trying to fit into them. That was the truth I couldn't escape. Here's what they didn't know. I had been building something quietly, after school, late nights, weekends, a digital education platform for children who struggled in traditional classrooms. Something I started out of passion, but it wasn't easy. There were days no one signed up, days I questioned everything, days I almost quit, but grew out of purpose. 1 student to 10 to hundreds to thousands. And now, it was time to take it seriously. Weeks passed. Daniel became distant. His family became colder. But me? I became focused, invested, driven. I wasn't trying to prove them wrong anymore. I was proving myself right. One evening, Daniel came home. They're offering me full control, he said. At what cost? He looked at me. You. Then I nodded slowly. Then take it. You don't understand what I'm risking, Daniel said. I looked at him calmly. No, you don't understand what you're losing. He blinked. What? Take it, I repeated. Because if you even have to think about choosing me, I stepped back. Then I was never your priority. I need time, Daniel said. Time. That word. That weak, empty word. I looked at him and realized something painful. A man who truly chooses you doesn't need time to decide. I packed lightly, not out of anger, out of certainty. At the door, I turned to him. Do you love me? I asked. He hesitated, and that hesitation was the answer. I was never your weakness, I said. I was the only real thing you had. I took off my ring, placed it gently on the table, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was losing something. I felt like I was choosing myself. And then I walked away. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. No luxury, no noise, no distractions, just me and my thoughts. I sat on the edge of the bed and whispered, "Now what?" No answer came. And for a moment, fear crept in, real fear. What if they were right? I thought. What if I really can't survive without that life? That was my lowest point. Not when they rejected me, but when I almost believed them. Then something inside me said, no, not loud, not dramatic, just firm, clear. No. I stood up, wiped my face, and said something I will never forget. I may not have their money, but I have something they can't control. My mind, my voice, my direction. And from that moment, I stopped surviving and started building. It wasn't easy. Small apartment, long hours, uncertainty. But peace? Peace was finally mine. My platform started growing. 1 student turned into 10, 10 turned into hundreds, then thousands. A year later, I was invited to speak at an education innovation conference. Guess who was there? Daniel and his family. But this time, they weren't looking down at me. They were watching me. After my speech, Evelyn approached me. Different posture, different tone. "Emily," she said, "you've done well." I smiled, not out of pride, out of understanding. "I didn't do this to prove you wrong," I said. "I did it because I finally chose myself." And for the first time, she had nothing to say. They thought I needed their world to survive, but I only needed myself to rise. As I stood on that stage, I said something I'll never forget. Some people will try to define your value based on what you lack instead of what you're becoming. But the moment you stop seeking validation and start building purpose, I smiled, you become unstoppable. They tried to write me out of their story, but I wrote my own and made it bigger. If this story felt familiar, like something you've lived through or something you're still trying to heal from, don't keep it buried. Let it out. Like this video, so more people can find it. Share it, because someone out there needs this strength today. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to choose yourself, even when it hurt? I read every single one. See? And if you're ready for more stories that speak the truth most people avoid, subscribe to the Unspoken Chapter, because here, we don't just tell stories. We uncover the truths people live, but rarely say out loud.